Rice contains cyanide. So when we eat rice, rest assured that your mucous membrane would be compromised.
Rice feeds more people than any other food on Earth. More than half the planet every single day. It is the grain doctors call gentle, the one whole health movements were built around, the food people switch to when they want to eat clean. So it stopped a lot of people cold when Dr. Sebi stood in front of a room and called it a poison. Before we unpack whether he was right, listen to exactly what he said in his own words.
The macrobiotic diet is a diet that came out of Japan about 50, 60 years ago. Dr. Ohsawa, correct me if I'm wrong, is it not a fact that he recommended rice as one of the substances that we should consider in removing a disease? He said to eat large portions of rice. Ladies and gentlemen, rice is hybrid. Not only does it contain starch, and a high percentage of starch, a high concentration of starch. Rice contains cyanide. So when we eat rice, rest assured that your mucous membrane would be compromised. Now, how do we put this into a healing package? This rice diet. And I remember I lived in New Orleans where many of my friends was telling me that this man was a scientist and that he recommended rice when rice is a poison. The only rice that is made on this planet that was made by God is that one that we call the wild rice.
It is a shocking claim. So let us start with the line that stops everyone. Rice contains cyanide. Strictly speaking, it does not. Cyanide is the poison of cassava root and apple seeds, not rice. But look at what Sebi was reaching for, because he was closer than he sounds. Rice carries a different hidden toxin, one he had no laboratory to name: arsenic. Of every crop we grow, rice is uniquely, almost freakishly good at pulling inorganic arsenic out of the ground, because it is grown in flooded fields where the metal dissolves and floods straight into the plant.
And here is why the mix-up matters less than you would think. Cyanide and arsenic do nearly the same thing inside you. Both are cellular poisons. Both jam the tiny machinery your cells use to turn food into energy. Cyanide blocks it at one link in the chain, arsenic at another, essentially crippling your cell's ability to produce vital energy from the inside out. Sebi reached for the wrong word, but the instinct underneath it, that rice carries a quiet poison that strikes at the level of the cell, was scientifically dead on. Then there is the word he leaned on hardest: hybrid. The rice in your cupboard, Oryza sativa, was pulled from a wild marsh grass more than 10,000 years ago and reshaped by human hands ever since. And we did not simply make it bigger and softer. We changed it so deeply that cultivated rice can no longer survive on its own. A wild grass scatters its seed to reproduce. Over thousands of years, farmers bred that ability out of rice, keeping only the plants that held tightly onto their grain so it could be harvested. The result is a crop that physically cannot reseed itself in the wild. Without a human being to plant it, modern rice simply ends.
That is what Sebi meant by hybrid. A plant so engineered it became dependent on us to exist. Now hold that against true wild rice. Botanists will tell you it is not really rice at all. It is not even a true grain. It is the seed of an aquatic grass, a separate genus called Zizania, that indigenous nations of North America harvested from their canoes for centuries and called monomen, the food that grows on water. One plant was engineered into dependence. The other was simply gathered, exactly as it grew.
Which brings us to the most stubborn myth of all. The idea that if white rice is the problem, brown rice is the cure. That belief has a father. In the 1960s, a Japanese philosopher named George Ohsawa, born Nyoichi Sakurazawa, carried a system called macrobiotics to the West, built on balancing yin and yang in everything you ate. And at its sacred center sat a single ingredient, brown rice, which Ohsawa called almost perfectly balanced. His followers climbed a ladder of 10 diets. The highest, diet number 7, was brown rice and almost nothing else, for weeks at a time, sold as the purest road to health. It did not end well. By 1971, the American Medical Association issued a formal warning that the strictest macrobiotic diets were causing scurvy, anemia, severe malnutrition, and in some cases, death. People were starving on the grain that promised to heal them. And the biochemistry explains exactly why the healthy version backfired. The thing that makes brown rice brown, the bran, is the very layer where the trouble hides. That bran is loaded with phytic acid, the plant's natural security system, designed to protect the seed and keep it from sprouting too early. It is an anti-nutrient that clamps onto minerals like iron, zinc, and calcium inside your gut and drags them out of your body before you can ever absorb them. So the grain sold as mineral-rich can leave you with fewer minerals than you started with. And remember the arsenic? It collects in those same outer layers, which means brown rice actually carries more arsenic than the white rice it looks down on. In rice, the health food and the poison live in the very same layer. So strip the bran away and eat it white instead? That trade wrote its own history in disease. When steam mills spread across Asia in the 1800s and began polishing rice a gleaming white, a sickness called beriberi exploded, a breakdown of the nerves and the heart that crippled and killed across entire regions. It took decades and eventually a Nobel Prize to uncover the cause. And the cause is almost poetic. Polishing the grain removes the germ, and the germ is where rice keeps its thiamine, vitamin B1. Here is the cruel twist. Thiamine is the exact nutrient your body needs to burn starch for energy. White rice is almost pure starch with its B1 thrown away. So when you eat it, your body has to reach into its own thiamine reserves just to process the meal. The grain does not feed you so much as drain you, spending down a vitamin it should have supplied in the first place. Run those reserves dry on a diet of polished rice, and the nerves and the heart begin to fail. Modern nutrition says it less dramatically, but no more kindly. White rice has one of the highest glycemic loads of any staple, digesting almost as fast as table sugar, which is why large studies have tied heavy white rice diets to a measurably higher risk of type 2 diabetes. So, between a brown grain that steals your minerals and a white one that drains your vitamins, what did Sebi actually put on the plate? A short list of grains he believed stayed close to their original form, with wild rice right at the top, alongside fonio, the tiny ancient grain of West Africa, plus quinoa, amaranth, teff, spelt, kamut, and rye. Not one of them is true rice. And if you love the comfort of a warm grain bowl, you give up nothing by trading. Cook wild rice, fonio, or quinoa exactly the way you would cook rice, in broth, with herbs, with vegetables. Rinse them well, give them a little more water and a little more time, and the bowl is just as warm and just as filling. If you have already tried making the switch to any of these grains, leave a comment below to let others know how it went. Whichever you choose, I have linked a few quality options down in the description, so you do not have to guess which to buy. Rice may be the most trusted grain on Earth, but trusted and untouched are not the same thing. And the distance between those two words is something Dr. Sebi understood long before the science caught up to him. If this changed the way you see the food on your plate, subscribe to this channel for more of his teachings. And if you want to know which other mainstream health foods might actually be draining your body, click on the video on your screen right now. I will see you there.